Hello there. As an Oklahoman, I want to apologize to the world for what my state has done. I am a very conservative Christian. I believe that people should be allowed to have prayer in school if they want to have time to do their prayers, but I do not support forcing anyone to learn the Bible. I am very much against anybody attacking Christians for what they believe. But what has happened in Oklahoma is that they have forced the Bible into curriculum that all schools must teach the Bible, according to the Supreme Court. The Bible does not teach. God does not force people to learn the Bible. In fact, in Mark chapter 3, it says that if you go into the city and you want to share the word with them and they don't want to hear it, then you just take off your sandals and dust the sand off from them and move on. You do not force the Bible on anyone. That's not biblical, at all. Oklahoma's chief school official has notified all state schools to immediately incorporate the Bible into classroom curriculum, drawing immediate outrage and threats of lawsuits in a state that was recently reprimanded for trying to use taxpayer dollars to create a Catholic school. So, if they want to put something like maybe the Ten Commandments as something that's historical, that is definitely, and teach that it was a part of our nation's history, I don't have any problem with that. They teach about different cultures and they do teach about, different religions in general, but to just put the Bible in and teach the Bible, that's not biblical. Effective immediately, all Oklahoma schools are required to incorporate the Bible, which includes 10 Commandments, as an instructional support into the curriculum in grades 5 through 12, according to the notice from Republican School Superintendent Ryan Walters. The Bible is one of the most historically significant books and a cornerstone of the Western civilization, along with the Ten Commandments, the notice reads. In a press conference on Thursday, Walters says that every school will have a Bible in the classroom, and that every teacher will be teaching from the Bible in the classroom. Oh my goodness. The Bible would be referenced as an appropriate study of history, civilization, ethics, comparative religion, or the like, as well as for their substantial influence on our nation's founders and the foundational principles of our Constitution, according to the memo. See, I don't have any problem with the historical references, because Magna Carta is what came down from the crown, and that is what was in our courts. That's why we've had In God We Trust in our courts. I have law books dating all the way back to the 1800s. I'll show you something. I have an entire set of these Senate and House journals, State of Kansas. I have them various years. I have an entire set. And in these, there are prayers. Now, these are the sessions. These are Journal of the Senate. And these are bills that are presented. They come to order by prayer. This is literally the reason that I wanted to preserve these books. I literally went to the Kansas Supreme Court house, and that's where I got these books. Okay, and I preserved them because I'm going to be putting a book of prayers throughout history, through a period of time, because these are opening prayers. This is historical. I have books. I think the oldest book I have is from the 1600s. I have a playlist on my homepage showing antique books that I have, and I have a lot of law books from the 1800s. This was standard. So there is a history of this. Now, I know a lot of people think, the reason they said that you're not allowed to choose forced religion or choose a specific denomination, they were talking about you can't choose one denomination over the other, because what happened was the Catholic was forcing and persecuting Christians
and killing them and torturing them. And so they fled, Britain, England, and came here to the New World to flee religious persecution, because they were trying to force the Catholic Bible on them, and that's when you started having this splintering of doctrines during the Bible Wars and the papacy and all that. So it wasn't that you're not allowed to have Christianity anywhere, it's just that you can't choose one denomination over the other. But nowhere did it say that you're not allowed to express your Christian beliefs. But what they're doing here, if what's being presented is being spoke truthfully here in this article that I'm sharing with you,
is historical. It appears to be more than historical references. Literally, you're teaching the doctrine that's in the Bible. First of all, there are so many different Christian churches that they interpret the Bible in so many different doctrines. You can't have one person, not even Christians. This is insanity. You can't do this. Now, there was people outraged when there was Muslims that were trying to bring the Islam religion into schools. I've posted about that, where they were trying to teach the principles of the Quran and the Islam, and trying to, there was one post where it had basically all across the walls, and so there was a lot of outrage on that. And so it's the same thing. You can't force Jews can't force their religion on Christians or Muslims or the various religions that there are in this country. It's okay, I think, to have reference, because it is very historical in our nation. And I know there's people that want to deny that, but it cannot be denied, because the very principles of our law did come down from Magna Carta, and in every single rule and every subject of every law has a biblical principle behind it. But that doesn't mean you can force somebody to learn the Bible. You can't do that. Now, referencing it to the study of history, civilization, ethics, comparative religion, or the like, the influence on our nation's founders, the foundational principle of our Constitution, that's fine. That's okay. But teaching from the Bible in the classroom, so this guy he's quoting the Supreme Court ruling and saying that it's, I haven't read the ruling. I will tell you that. I will get the ruling out. I will promise you that. I will definitely get the ruling out. And I will read it in specific to see if this guy's taking it out of context. But I will tell you this. I don't want anybody, if I had kids in school, I wouldn't want them teaching the Bible. And I'm a Christian. Because I don't know how they're going to be interpreting the Bible to be teaching it. Because there's so many different doctrines. There's so many false doctrines. And part of the Christian gospel is that there will be false brethren. And there will be false doctrines. And misteachings of the Bible. So, the teachings of the Bible is up to the parents. And I wouldn't want somebody else. I wouldn't want any kid. But so then you have Superintendent Ryan Walters, and what he was saying is Oklahoma kids will learn that the Bible and the Ten Commandments are foundational for Western civilization. The left is upset, but one cannot rewrite history. So he's speaking from a historical, perspective, that there are Christian foundations that is what built our country, and it is true. People don't know about the principles, and they think that they want to talk about that this you cannot choose one religion over the other, and they really meant denomination, because they have God in the documents. And what was going on then was people were fleeing religious persecution, and it was from the papacy. I can't even begin to tell you the tortures that people that refused the papacy. The Lutheran doctrine was that, the church was selling salvation, and he put his, declaration on the Church of the Catholic Church and saying, look, the gospel's not for sale. There were Bible wars, literally, where they were burning Bibles. They were torturing anybody who didn't accept the Catholic doctrine. There's medieval ages, there was some very dark things went on, and so there was religious wars, but it was just basically not allowing people to interpret the Bible for themselves, right? And so I think it's a slippery slope. I don't want anybody teaching the Bible to me, or if I had kids in school, I wouldn't want them teaching the Bible to my kids, because I would want the church that I choose to go to, who teaches the appropriate doctrine of the gospel, to be teaching to my children. And I would be very careful who I select. I wouldn't just let some teacher, I don't know who they are, to know if they even know what they're talking about the Bible. But for a historical purpose, yes, there is Christian history in our documents, our foundation, and talking about the influence that it had for Western civilization. There's nothing wrong with that, because it's just fact, it's history. But I think that, this is a very slippery slope. But I'm going to pull the Oklahoma Supreme Court ruling and actually read what it says. Oh, and so here's the word that I used, unconstitutional slippery slope. It can be. It can be. The state is prohibited from using public money for use, benefit, or support of a sect or a system of religion. Well, I don't know that it actually used the religion. It was one denomination over another. You can't force people to be Catholic. That's basically what they wanted to preserve. But at any rate, nobody should be forcing religion on anybody, okay? But neither should, if somebody wants to express who they are and what they believe, then nobody should be chastising somebody or a child if they want to wear a t-shirt with a cross on it. Okay, because that's religious persecution. They are attacking people for any kind of Christian, or because they don't accept certain things going on in our society, like they don't accept the whole more than two genders thing, or there's a lot of things going on in our culture that, they don't accept. But at the same time, you can't force other people to accept what you believe. So there has to be a balance of. It's like today, I'm in chat, and I'm watching the Karen Reed trial, and I'm saying Isaiah 55:11, what God sends forth shall not come back void, because in our system, the courts still have "In God We Trust" on it. And so the principles of justice comes from the divine justice of God, and clearly, he did send a godsend to Karen Reed. He sent her a doctor that rose up and made herself known to say, hey, this is not true what they're saying. They're based, or just, I don't know if she watched the trial, but basically she brought truth. Then you have FBI experts who were very, very well qualified. That's unheard of. You don't have people that the defense or the state never, ever had anything to do with, that just the federal government paid for that, that was completely neutral. That's unheard of. To me, that's like divine intervention. And so I said, if God is making a way despite all the ganging up on this woman, and to shine the light on oppressive forces in that area, if God is sending those people forth, then it shall not come back void. It shall not come back void. So I'm just speaking, there's God in everything. And so I just made those comments, and somebody got mad about it. It's like, oh, God doesn't belong here. I'm like, yes, this is justice. He does belong here. But then, I'm not I'm not judging other people because they don't believe as I do. They have every right to not believe. I'm not judging them. I'm just speaking my 2 cents, and other people will stand up for me. And so those who want to silence my right to speak what I believe, I just blocked them, But here in school, when you have children, these are people's children. You don't get to teach them the Bible. You don't get to teach them a doctrine. So I don't know how well the Oklahoma Supreme Court preserved what they can and cannot do with this. I think that, he might be misrepresenting this. But, again, if it's truly just for historical representation, then, might be okay, but if anybody's out there trying to teach the Bible as if in like doctrine that they're going to teach to children, then I just have to say that's not right. That's not how God works. That's not how He works. He doesn't force Himself on people. Jesus didn't go chase people down. They followed Him. You know, it's just. Anyways, that's my spill on the deal.